Ladies and gentlemen, here is Leo Chern. So let's have a tremendous welcome for him. This is what enabled him to get out of Hungary.
I drove to Budapest and back, spent 36 hours in Budapest to set up a pipeline directly to the freedom fighters in Hungary, and to do this through the International Rescue Committee, of which I'm chair. This is a wonderful, moving picture of refugees leaving Hungary at the border and crossing a collapsed bridge that takes them into freedom. Well, they could have lived quietly and peacefully and in pretty miserable conditions.
It was a very anti-Soviet, anti-communist movement, and I think that's why Americans could really identify with it.
What was the scene in Budapest when you left?
Oh, a dreadful scene. Streets shattered. People with the bright fire of hope in their eyes who have risked everything to seek their freedom. Poor freedom fighters, outgunned and outmanned. And the United States wasn't doing anything about it, and I felt sad that that was true. I looked around for some organization that I might continue this emotional feeling that we must help the Hungarians more, and I discovered the International Rescue Committee.
We left with the clothes on our back and a suitcase.
Just like every refugee.
That's right.
They're not allowed to bring much out.
That's right. I think the sense of being a refugee never leaves one, especially, I think, for a Hungarian. And for good reason, because they've been occupied, they have lost territory, they've lost wars.
They're all very brave people because they are willing, have been willing to pick up their lives and to move to another place.
But to me, this is also a celebration of freedom, of democracy, that the Hungarian people so bravely expressed.
So many of the Hungarian people that came in 1956 became important figures in America.
For me, who came from a country who often were at odds with each other, the way the IRC treated me, being accepted as an American, created an impression of the United States that has shaped my devotion to this country ever since.
Americans have a great feeling for freedom. When they heard from Leo on the phone, a lot of them responded.
One of the amazing things about the existence of the IRC is that it represents an empathy for refugees by individuals who grew up never having personally experienced the human impact of war, the separation, the displacement.
In 1956, there was no organized structure to take care of these refugees, and I think the IRC was very likely the first one that in some kind of at least semi-organized way. But we were pioneering in most of these activities.
But it's also sad that an organization like the IRC needs to grow so much, because it means that there are so many refugees in the world and displaced persons.
It's a long time from 1956 to 2006, and the IRC has changed and the refugee situation has changed so much. It's so much bigger now and applies to more countries and more people than it did then.
The locations changed. The looks of the refugees changed. The languages changed. But the role the IRC has played in the 50 years has remained a constant. Being there for refugees, helping as many of them in as many ways as possible. It is a fantastic organization.
The best thing that we could do would be to have no more refugees, and that would permit us to go out of business. But as long as there are people who have to flee their country, we will be in business to protect them and take care of them.